Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming to this new HOTS Masterclass session. We have two lovely guests here, NOIRA and Jamie. Thanks for being here. And this session is going to be about the SongLab that HOTS was running or has been running for some time, which is basically a program where they match Hungarian artists with well-known and professional producers and try to make a song together. And they made a song together this summer, which we're gonna also listen to in a short time. But first, I'd like to ask you a little bit about what you do in general, you know, how you got to this point in your life, and also about the work that you did together. So first, starting with NOIRA, thanks for being here, and
thank you for inviting me
and for taking this event. And I would like to ask about what you do, where you see yourself in your music career, and how you met Jamie.
Well, it's actually the 5th anniversary of me starting to be a musician. So I started 5 years ago, and I had no plans. It's my second job and it's my second life. So I just wanted to make music and have fun, and I still just make music and having fun while doing it. So it was like I saw this advertisement from HOTS that you can just send over your demos and the producers can choose them. And we were almost finished with this song. And with my manager, Annika, we were just discussing, shall we send this song because it's almost finished? And she was like, yeah, sure, let's do this. And Jamie chose the song, and I was so surprised and I was so happy. So this is how we met in Budapest.
Okay, and can you tell us a little bit about the process, about the how you picked him, or what was the process exactly? Like, there were several producers you could check, and what was the workflow there?
I think there were 3 producers, and I just checked who the producers work with, and I thought that maybe Jamie is the closest to the genre that I'm working in. So I chose him because of that. I didn't want to choose a producer who's working mostly on electronic music or working mostly on heavy metal. So I chose Jamie because I saw that he was already working on R&B tracks and pop music. So I hope he enjoyed it while producing and mixing it.
Okay, thanks. And Jamie, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you become a producer?
God. How long have you got?
We got some time.
Well, from a very early age, I've always been into music from like when I was a kid. I remember in the UK we have a program. We used to have a program called Top of the Pops, which was like people used to go on a mime, which I was quite disappointed about when I found that out. But I remember watching that and thinking, oh, that looks cool. Music is amazing. Like from a very early age, like, you know, a toddler. And then I started playing guitar, and I thought, well, this is quite difficult, but stuck with it and persevered. And I've just always been obsessed with music. And then I was in a band and we were making records. And the first time we went into the studio, I was like, absolutely, it was like magic to me. All these buttons and knobs and flashing lights and, you know, going in there with a kind of half-baked idea and leaving with something that sounded like a record was like magic. It was just magical, the whole thing.
Did you have a formal study, or you just went?
I did, but I'm not very academic, to be honest. I tried university twice and failed both. So studying and college and that kind of side of it, it wasn't really for me. I was much more I didn't really want to learn about it. I just wanted to do it. I remember, I told this story recently actually, I remember being like 9 years old or something and getting really excited about getting my first multi-track recorder, which is quite unusual, I would say, for a 9-year-old to be excited about getting a multi-track recorder. You know, usually they want video games and stuff, but and when I got it and I first recorded myself, you know, double-tracked, and panned and panned things like left and right. I was just absolutely taken in by it. But obviously, it's quite a difficult thing to make a living out of. It's quite a difficult thing to make a career out of. But so I did have other jobs and stuff to kind of facilitate the journey and keep me in finance. And then one day, a friend of mine, he's a bit older than me, but he'd been in and around studios locally to my area, West London. He just kind of said, "Look, I think you're pretty good at this." And he was closing down a studio that he owned. And he said, "Look, I'm thinking about starting something else. How do you feel about coming in and being my engineer?"
And sorry, just when you said you're good at this, what is it like? Well,
I was making records in my bedroom for like local bands that were getting record deals and stuff, and getting played on like major radio, which was quite an achievement really from a bedroom. And he kind of believed in me, and so he built a studio from the ground up, and we just started recording. We just continued recording bands and stuff. And then another friend of mine, I've got some good friends, and then another friend of mine had a house in Notting Hill on Portobello Road, and he'd kind of seen what me and Phil were doing, more low-key and small local at the studio, and he could kind of see that it was working. And he had this amazing house on Portobello Road, which is a famous street in London, for like 5 floors. And he kind of said, "Look, why don't we, I'm not really going to be around." He's a bit nomadic. He was kind of traveling a lot. And he said, "Look, why don't we make a studio? Why don't we take it to the next level and put a studio in here?" And that is when it just absolutely exploded. It just exploded. I mean, the first client that I was working with and that was about 2020. It was like right in the middle of COVID. We opened up a new recording studio, which was a pretty mad thing to do. But because it was residential and people could stay there, I don't know what it was like in Hungary during COVID, but in the UK, we used to have this thing called quarantine.
Yeah, sure. We had that too.
Where people, if they were staying in a hotel or something like that, they could work. So we, for a series of loopholes, it was like our best trading period, because people could come and stay with us. So we had all these like American artists, like big artists like Olivia Rodrigo and Skrillex and people like that, coming and staying with us for like months.
Did you have to market yourself, or it was all word
We
of
had
mouth?
We had a manager. I mean, when we first opened, it was a bit like, okay, where are the clients? You know, no one was really booking it. And then we got a manager called Moloko. I don't know if you know Moloko Studios.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they kind of took us on, and they have like huge marketing, and you know, pretty much if someone serious wants to book a studio, they book it through Moloko. So it was really, that was when things changed significantly. And like, yeah, our first client was Stormzy.
That's pretty good.
So I knew then that we were onto something.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Okay. And what do you think is your secret sauce? So what is it that you add to the sound or to the brand identity? I mean, I guess it's not an easy question, but you might have something in your workflow, maybe.
I
or
mean,
what is
like, I'm a musician, really. I'm not like a kind of tech guy. In fact, I'm pretty bad at the sort of plugging. I've got about 6 assistants that I'm calling all the time saying, I can't work this out. How do I? I'm not that guy. Some people are really techie and really great at plugging leads in and things like that. I'm not that guy. I'm very much more musical. So I guess really kind of I can play a lot of instruments, not particularly well, but I can play them enough to kind of get by. And I think as a producer, that's been my kind of my trick, really, because you know I can get on a drum kit and say to the drummer, how about something more like this, or I can add a keyboard part, or I can, you know, I was also a singer for a while, so I can kind of help out with the melodies and stuff. But so I'm a bit of a kind of jack of all trades and a master of none, you know. That's kind of, I think that's kind of got me by, really.
Okay, and you got a good ear to pick up what's missing. What is maybe the instrument that's missing?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I've always quite liked, you know, I've always quite liked sort of A&R. I'm quite good at, when people send me tracks, I'm quite good at picking out the ones I think could work.
Okay.
So I do kind of sit down with the artist, get quite heavily involved with pre-production and stuff like that before we even get into the studio. Because really making records, it shouldn't be too difficult. You know, if you've got a great song and a great artist and a great studio and a great engineer, you know, if you tick all of those boxes, you should be able to kind of deliver a pretty good product. So, yeah, for me, it's just about finding good artists, good songs. I've got the studio. I've got me, obviously. So that's not to say that everything I do works and sounds great. It doesn't. But, you know, usually we can get it there or thereabouts.
And back to NOIRA. So what was your understanding of what a producer does, and why do you need one?
You mean in the beginning, or?
Yes.
Nothing. I mean, I didn't know anything about what producers do, but right from the first track, I just learned everything. And when I met Jamie, I already know what a producer does, and this is why I was a bit in question, like if we should send it to him or not, because he couldn't really work on it. But
because you already had a producer in Hungary, or Funny.
Yeah, she's Fanny Gyarmati. She's also in Flanger Kids, and she's my producer for 5 years. So we're doing everything together. And but Jamie still could add things to the song that really made it bigger. So when I took the song to him, I was like, okay, I have this chorus, but I missed something from it. And he was like, okay, why don't we put a guitar to it? And I was like, guitar? I mean, Funny, my producer, is a guitar player, and this didn't came to my mind that we should put more guitar to it. But then it became so cool. So I'm really happy that he added some things to it.
So then what was the workflow? So you sent him almost like a finished version, or what you thought was a finished version, and you worked from that, or it was more from scratch?
Yeah, it was almost finished. It was a demo, but it was almost like a mix.
Okay, and you just ripped it apart and did some justice to it?
No, he didn't. I mean, he was like, no, it's a really cool song, and I didn't want to change like most of the things because it's already cool. So we just need to add some things that you think they're missing, and that's it.
It's kind of it's quite a kind of not funky, but there's quite a groove. There's quite a groove to the song, and I thought whatever we do, we don't want to ruin that. You know, we don't want to ruin the groove. So for me, I just felt this kind of like it could do with like a kind of rhythmical, almost percussive like guitar in the chorus, which we tracked just to give the chorus a little bit more groove, like add to the groove a bit, which I think helped. But it was really well put together, to be honest.
And how do you approach it? Do you have some place in your mind where it should get to?
Yeah, I think whenever I'm making a record, I can hear the finished thing in my head, and it's just a case of steering it there, you know, which sounds easy.
Convincing the artist to actually.
And convincing the artist, but NOIRA was super adaptable. She was a bit like, oh, okay, I'm not sure about that, but try it. And then we tried it, and you know, she was like, that's really cool, you know.
Okay.
But again, like I'm not sensitive. If we try something and someone says like, nah, that's not right, then it's not right. But ultimately, I think is you become a bit of a team, and the song becomes a bit of a, you know, like I always describe it as the song becomes your baby, you know, and you're trying to sort of, you know, create the best baby that you can. So you've both got to be on the same page and stuff. And I think we were.
Yeah, I think we had almost the same thing in our heads. So
it was quite funny actually when I delivered the first mix, because I have a mix. I work from a mix template. So I have, you know, all the plugins up on my template and stuff. And when I delivered her first mix, I accidentally set, unknowingly, set auto-tune to like 100% hard, unnatural in the wrong key just before I bounced the file. I must have pressed, and she very, very sweetly kind of listened to it and said, yeah, it's quite nice, but like, what have you done to my vocal? And I was like, oh, she doesn't like it. Like, oh no, God, like, let me listen to it. It sounded great in the studio. And then, you know, listen back to it, and I made her sound like Cher. So I was, sorry, let me take that off. Yeah. And there was a few back and forths, you know, can you turn this up? Can you turn that down? But once I delivered the mix properly, she sort of said, wow, you know, yeah, this sounds great.
Yeah, and I think we also recorded like the horns after the session and 5 different ones. So I think it wasn't quite easy because they're loud.
Yeah.
And but I think the mix is just perfect. Can we listen to it?
Yes. Is it plugged in? Yeah. Then please.
So it's called Some Change. This is Rosemary, she's there. Hi, Lily.
Thank you. Wow, it's got some really, really great vibes and interesting flow. Using this song as an example, could you walk us through what was the birth timeline of this song? Like, how did it came to be?
Well, actually, it was the result of a really, really bad period in my life, and I really needed a change. And I woke up at night one night in like January or something. It was really dark and cold and everything, and I was just starting to sing that. Guess I just need some change. And the next morning, I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a song because I think it's nice. And I showed it to Fanny, the producer guitarist, and she also said, okay, this kind of good vibes, so let's do a song.
Okay, and then you wrote the lyrics first, or you wrote melodies, or what was the process?
I'm usually I'm usually writing the melodies first with some lyrics, and I'm usually showing it to Fanny, and we harmonize it together.
Okay. And the idea to bring Ray in, I'm sorry, what was her name doing the rapping part?
Lily,
Rose. Sorry, Rose May. Hello, thank you. So how did this idea came out?
I was following Lily for a while on Instagram, and we knew each other like for a couple of months, and I was like, okay, whenever I'm gonna have rap in one of my songs, it's definitely gonna be her because she's so good, and I really love her. So when this song came in my mind, and I knew that it's going to be some upbeat and happy vibes, and I knew that this should be something that involves Lily because she's always happy and she's really a good vibe.
Okay, well, I really hope it did bring all the changes you wanted in your life.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and Jamie, you're an artist as well and songwriter, I suppose, right?
Yeah, sort of. Not so much now, really.
Okay.
Although when I'm working with an artist, I do try and sort of almost become like a member of the band for a little while, you know.
So I just wanted to ask you also about the birth of a song, and what do you see are the maybe the best ways or ways that you see are happening and usually bring good results, or everyone approaches it differently? What do you see?
Well, I mean, if we knew the answer to that, then, you know, I don't know. I mean, like, it's the secret sauce, isn't it? I think some people are just naturally gifted at writing songs, but also I think you've got to have, like Nora just said, you've got to have a reason, you've got to have something to say. I find quite often the best songs come from pain and experiences and stuff like that, because they're real and they're honest. So quite often for me, the best singer-songwriters are the people that have been through quite traumatic stuff, and they're usually a bit mad, you know, in my experience.
And at what point do you think artists should pursue and find a producer, or for how long they should, you know, try and do it on their own and find ways to create a song?
Well, I think a producer, I mean, maybe I would say this because it's what I do for a living, but I think a producer is really important, like whoever you are. Even if I was making a record now, I wouldn't probably produce it myself. I'd always go looking for a producer, because I just think that having someone else involved in the project is going to, like you just learn, and you go down avenues that you might not do in your own, if you were on your own. Do you know what I mean? Like when I sit at a piano or whatever, or pick up a guitar, I'm always playing the same chords or the same thing. Whereas if you work with someone else, it can kind of inspire you, and you end up going down slightly different avenues. So I always think, even if you are a producer, always try and get, I understand there's some budget complications to that and stuff, but I think a producer, the right producer at least, can add a lot of value.
Do you see yourself as, let's say, a co-writer or a coach?
Sometimes,
or
sometimes.
Or
sometimes I'm doing more and more co-writing, and I find that can be slightly awkward sometimes if you've been quite heavily involved in writing a song, and then you sort of, well, okay, how do we split this? That can be a bit awkward. But really, ultimately, when I go into a production or when I start making a record, it's just nothing else matters more than making this song the best version of it. However we have to do that. Otherwise, what's the point in recording it?
Yeah. And for that, you try and get into the head of the artist and see why they're doing this, or why.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I do. I try and, you know, quite often when you're working with people, you end up becoming sort of friends for life, you know, and it becomes more than just a job. You know, Luca, my assistant over there, bless him, was originally a client of mine, but unfortunately for him, he's become quite a good friend of mine. Okay.
Yeah, and you said, or you work with Fanny a lot, and how is this relationship for you? You treat or work together as co-writers, or as a coach or facilitator? How do you see her in your songwriting?
Yeah, I agree with Jamie 100% because I think producer is almost as important as the artist herself because when I show a song to Fanny, I have something in my mind and then she adds the things to it and it becomes a song. And without her, it would be just the things that are in my mind. And it's not because I don't know how to produce, because I could learn how to produce, but I don't really want to learn how to produce because I know that producers are, one of a kind people who just, have such a good thing in their heads and they really do magic. And I see it with all my songs. So I this is why I was a bit sad that the song was almost finished when we showed it to Jamie, because I wanted to see so much what he would do with it, because every producer does something differently. So he would do. I think he would do a much different song than what it is now.
True. Maybe. It's very hard for me to say now because I can only hear it this way now. I can't really imagine it in a different way. But yeah, probably it would have sounded probably completely different. And that's why finding the right producer is important, because they are inevitably going to impact the sound.
Yeah. Just thinking of the templates you mentioned it as part of your mixing process. But when it comes to putting a song structure together, do you have any kind of templates in your head that maybe speaks to the, what could be a hit more than another?
Well, I mean, without stating the obvious, you always need a great chorus. And it's amazing how many people, they sort of say, and when I listen to it, I say, well, okay, well, where's the chorus? Well, this is the chorus. No, that's not the chorus. That's not a chorus, So, yeah, writing a great chorus, I think, is the biggest challenge, really. If you think of every kind of song that you like that's been a hit, I guarantee it will have had a fantastic chorus. And they can be quite tricky to write, to be honest. So I think, no, I don't sort of sit down and go, right, I'm going to go verse 1, bridge, da-da-da-da. No, it's just whatever's right for the song is right. I mean, there are some, actually, having said that, there are some examples of songs that don't actually have a chorus at all that were hits, but I can't really think of one. I was talking about this the other day. Is it 10cc, I think, maybe? I can't remember. There are some songs that don't have a chorus, but more often than not, you're going to need to have a great chorus for people to be able to connect to it, and they're quite tricky to write.
Yeah. And for you? Do you have some sort of template in your head?
No, I mean I only have the chorus for fix, and all the rest is for me. It's a playground, because I usually have one verse, that's for sure, but I'm not sure that I'm going to have a pre-chorus or a bridge or anything. I'm just going to have a verse for sure, and I'm going to have a chorus, but the other is just always different for me. Right now I'm writing a song. This is going to be the last song that I'm doing this year, and it has a verse, it has a chorus, and the other parts I just can't tell what they are, but they are not verses and they are not choruses. So I'm not sure that people will understand it, but I showed it to a couple of people and they was like, okay, I kind of understand what's going through in this song, but it's not as simple as, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, and stuff like that. So I hope people will enjoy it.
Okay. And was there anything you took away from the mutual work, or that you learned from each other working together?
Let you answer that one.
Sure. I mean, I just told Jamie that when I get the mix and the master, it usually brings out the worst in me. I mean, I'm like...
What's that like?
I'm really frustrated when I hear a mix with vocals. Like Jamie sent me first, and I was like, okay, but what happened to my vocals? They were perfect. and you should just learn how to relax and just say, okay, I think something is wrong. Could you just change it? And of course he will change it. And you just don't have to get frustrated because it will be changed. So this is what I always learn when I'm doing mixes and masters. But what I also learned is that it's really good to work with different producers sometimes. And I would be really happy to work with Jamie again because I think we had a great workflow.
Agreed.
Did you have any obstacles apart from this?
Did we have any obstacles? There was a bit of back and forth regarding the horns. It was really difficult to place the horns, and I think I was placing them quite prominently and making them quite a feature because I like them. And
I was really happy you liked them.
Yeah, but she was a bit like, no, turn them down, push them back, make them less. And I was a bit like, but I think she was probably right. So that was a bit of kind of like, no, I wouldn't say obstacles, but or friction or anything like that. But there was a bit of a I wanted the horns to be a bit more kind of prominent. I think she had them in her head in a slightly different way. So we just found I took it in a slightly different direction. Then I started putting them into like making them a bit more kind of like Motown, and putting them into like spring reverbs and things like that, and making them a bit more like characterful. I remember using quite a lot of I put them through guitar amps and stuff like that, which kind of helped me sit them in the mix in a way that they were still like a feature and still adding a lot, but weren't sort of so prominent.
Okay.
We actually had some background vocals that were the same as horns in the chorus parts, and I really wanted to keep those background vocals because I really loved them, and but I wanted to keep the horns too, but those together were just not good. They were too loud and too messy, and Jamie said that maybe we should get rid of those vocals, and I was like, no, please get rid of the horns. And the horse went.
Okay. And when did you feel that okay, this is ready and it's not gonna be any better, just worse if you touch it more? Was there?
There was we got it mastered externally. She recommended a mastering engineer. I think did a fantastic job actually, because I can be a bit precious about that stuff sometimes. You spend so long building the dynamics into a mix, and then you send it off to a mastering engineer who just absolutely destroys it. That could be quite disappointing. But he did a really good job at preserving the dynamics. But there was a bit of an issue for me with the kick drum, because it's this kind of four to the floor. Getting that balance with the bass was quite tricky, actually. And I remember the first time I played it in my car, my car nearly exploded because the kick drum was so big. So there was a bit of difficulty around shaping that, because it still needed to feel big and punchy, but like not, like it was about to blow the world up. So that was a bit tricky, but the mastering engineer really helped with that as well, actually. Yeah.
He was Marci Fejmesi, I think we all know him.
Sorry, I couldn't remember his name.
No, it's too difficult.
Yeah. You mentioned you like to work with different producers, and when they touch your songs and they alter your sound a little bit, which I feel like for many artists represents their identity, the brand, in a way. And how do you feel about that? That you have to make them understand what you are about and what your sound is about, and then.
We usually listen to some music, or I just tell them who I listen to. And I for example, I told Jamie that I'm a big fan of Olivia Dean, and he also knew her, and he was like, okay, I also worked on a song she made. So I was like, okay, then we're done. And he was like, yeah, I can clearly hear her influences on your music. So that was the point when I knew that he was going to make great music for me too. Because he really felt what I wanted to do, and it's also the same with other producers. Like first we start to make some music, and you can see from the first couple of hours if you're going to fit or not. But then you can still go back the next day and try again. So I'm not like if it's not perfect, then I don't want it. So I think it's just like patience that you need, for that, and also know what you want to do, because there are some producers who I started working with and started like, you know, doing some stuff, and he was like, okay, can you sing something to it? And I was like, no, I mean, these are my feelings, and, and I have the melodies in my head, so I don't want to sing to a beat or something that you make. I just want to sing it for you, and then you just make something to it. So this is how I usually work, and this is, you know, I think most producers understand it.
And so you've been working with artists for a long time. What do you see? What kind of shifts there are with working with them, with artists? Do you see any?
Well, music's always shifting, isn't it? Really, I suppose. Like, which is why I kind of love it. One of the reasons I love it so much. The shift I'm kind of seeing at the minute is that I'm finding that real instruments are kind of becoming more of a thing now. I think we went through a phase of, I don't know, 10 or 20 years, maybe longer, where it was pretty uncool to be playing an instrument, which kind of got me worried, because I'm not a massive electronic guy. I really like earthy, organic music. So I'm seeing a shift. I'm seeing a shift there. Even when we were working with people like Dave and Stormzy and stuff, they'd get really excited about adding real guitars and stuff to their music. So I think that's really positive. Also, I think you know, I think some bands, you know, bands seem to be kind of coming back a little bit, which is cool. Because as I say, yeah, we think we went through a phase. I don't know about here, but in the UK, we went through a phase where there was like no bands.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it still is. We're in that phase now. You see that there are more and more bands coming to you.
I think so. Yeah. Or maybe I'm just like fishing for them or finding them.
I don't know what you guys think. What do you think? Is it band?
Yeah,
you have a band also, right?
Yeah, I have a live band, but I'm still a solo artist, so I don't know. I think I'm listening to most of the people that I'm listening to are solo artists, but I don't know. Yeah, I will check on it.
And do you see people coming to you with songs that they made on Splice or all these other stuff? And what do you think about them?
I like it. I mean, I actually only recently discovered Splice. I've been outsourcing that stuff to a guy to do for me for a while, and now that Pro Tools have actually integrated Splice into the door, I thought, well, maybe it's about time I had a look into this Splice stuff, and I'm actually addicted to it. It's so good. I worked with a big, a huge artist. I'm not going to say the name, but the way that they wrote their song, which was a global like hit, was through just like splice loops. Splice loops.
Fred again, maybe?
I'm not going to say. No, it wasn't Fred again. But yeah, I found that quite interesting, that people were literally like writing songs from splice loops. No, I've got no problem with that.
Do you see the way people write songs changes somehow with technology also?
Well, like she just kind of said, a lot of people do kind of start to write songs from like a beat, they call it, now, as opposed to like the more traditional method, maybe of sitting down on a piano or an acoustic guitar. But I'm still very much like that. For me, like a song needs to sound great on an acoustic guitar and a vocal, not rely on loads of different computer samples. That's not really my vibe. Having said that, lots of people have made very, very good careers out of doing it. So who am I to judge? But no, as I said, I'm very kind of much more organic. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We can take questions. If anyone has questions, please. Yeah?
Yeah, I was just thinking about the fact that you said that you started using splice loops more and more, and you're into that. And I had some friends of mine run into issues with like the rights of these samples. Like these samples are, of course, most of them are in Creative Commons Zero license, so you can use it like creatively. You don't need to say that, oh, this sample is this and that anywhere. But other songs that are copyright protected are using the same splice sample.
Yeah.
They get flagged by these algorithms, and there's no human involvement in the decision-making process with like Spotify and whatever these.
Well, this is one of the problems with Splice. Is more often than not, you go for the first thing that you find that kind of works, and therefore probably millions of other people are doing the same thing. So millions of other songs have got the same
Sounds.
But look, AI is going to take over everything anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that? Like, do you,
Oh God, you better
brought it in.
you better book another hour.
I wasn't gonna.
I don't really know how I feel about it, to be honest. I mean, it was actually quite terrifying the other day that an artist I'm working with had a melody, and she can't play an instrument, and obviously I've been busy and stuff, and she just said, look, I just whacked the vocal into an AI generator, and it created this incredible tune with her vocal. And I was actually genuinely shocked. It sounded like the mix was perfect, and in 10 seconds, I hasten to add. And I was a bit like, wow, this is actually quite scary. But, you know, when keyboards first introduced string sounds, orchestras were like absolutely terrified and thought that they were never going to have any work anymore. And they've never been busier. So I don't really know. I can't really take it that seriously at the minute. It doesn't really have the soul. You can't really, for me, it's all a bit soulless and a bit fake and a bit plastic. So I'm not too worried about it, but it is pretty mad.
Do you use any plugins, let's say, that is...
AI plugins?
Yeah.
No. Yes, all the time. Yes. I'm a really big fan of Golfos. You heard of that? No. Soothe. Soothe's really good. I really like the sort of AI dynamic EQ compressor kind of things because they just save time. I mean, before all that stuff, I was just manually automating.
They were one of the first plugins to include some AI. No?
Yeah, and also like it's not really any different to a de-esser. You know, it's just doing it across a broader frequency spectrum. It's just taming harshness, and so I don't really see a problem with that. I also use a lot of like tuning and stuff like that if I need to. No, if the tools and drum samples, I use drum samples on real drums all the time, but they're samples that I've made myself. So I'm kind of only half cheating, I think.
All right, have you tried any for melodies, let's say?
No, not yet. Yeah. I don't think I will. I mean, as I said, I really love the sound of Olivia Dean, and she just put out an album, and it's full of live instruments, and I don't think there's any electronic stuff on it, and I'm just in love with it. I just really love this sound, and I think for my next EP or album or whatever I'm doing, I think I will do live instruments only.
Actually, I was going to say this. I asked this if you are working on single songs or you have, let's say, a broader, broader package in mind or a vision in mind for several songs and have a sound for those together. Which one is it? You're more into one-off songs or you have...
For the first time, this EP that Some Change is also included is a story, is a whole story of 4 songs, and it's about being in a really bad period of time and having troubles and everything, and then coming out of it. And this was what was happening to me last year, and I just felt quite therapeutic to sing it out from me, and I think it really helped. But I usually write about love, and I think I always will. So I don't know what my next album will be about, but I don't think it will have such a strict topic than this one, because by the end I felt like, okay, I'm through this, and I still have these songs that are really painful for me, and I'm not sure that I want to sing them on live concerts to be sure. But Some Change is different because it's an upbeat, really happy song, so it's really nice to sing it. But the other ones are like, okay, these are really hard for me.
Yeah,
so.
This made everyone happy, so it's great. Do you prefer to work on single songs or more materials?
No, I prefer to really do an album, to be honest, if I can. But they seem to be becoming sort of less and less of a thing now, for whatever reason. But when I first start working with an artist, I always sort of say, look, let's just start with one song and see how we go. That's definitely a better way of doing it, I think, because whilst it's right for the artist to find the right producer, it's also it's got to be right for the producer. So I always say, let's just start with one song and then kind of see how we go. But ideally, I like to be doing albums, really.
If you get into the headspace for one song, then it can expand easily.
Yeah, and it's more efficient. And actually, across, even though it costs more, like the outlay of cost is more, because you're multiplying the amount of tracks, actually it's more cost effective because it's quicker.
Yeah. So as a closing thought, I just wanted to ask, what kind of advice do you have for other songwriters and producers or songwriters as well? Or
if they want to apply to this project with HOTS, finding producers, I think I would suggest them to send the demo which is not finished, not even half finished, or maybe just you have some ideas but you don't really know what the song is going to be about, so you can give some space to the producer to really work on it. So maybe this is my advice.
good one.
Yeah, I mean, I get a lot of like CVs. I don't know if you call them that here, resumes, or and I feel really sorry for these young guys that are at college and stuff like that, because really there aren't really any jobs per se. So my advice is just go and do it. Just get a little studio in your bedroom, get some gear, go to shows, talk to people, and if you're just starting out, maybe, if not do it for free, do it very cheaply. Attract people, build a bit of a brand for yourself, get a bit of a name for yourself. And we live in an age now where you've got the internet and stuff. Like, I can reach out to and do talk to bands in different continents all the time. So there's really no excuse. It's a great time, I think, to be making music. So yeah, stop trying to apply for jobs and just go and do it. Just get yourself a laptop and a pair of speakers and start making music, I think.
Splice subscription.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Guys, any questions as a last resort? Yeah, please.
I would have a question for Jamie. So, do you plan to incorporate AI into your workflow in the future?
No, not if I can help it. I might not have a choice, but no, not really. I'm not really taking the AI stuff too seriously right now. I mean, as I just explained, I do use like AI tools, but no, it doesn't really interest me. What's the point? Like, I want to be doing it myself. It takes all the fun out of it, for me. But like I said, it does kind of work for some people, and sometimes it does sound really good, but no, it doesn't interest me at all.
Any else? Any other question? Yes.
Hi.
Rose?
I was on this song, but I have a question not regarding that. So as a producer, I also do some production stuff, and that's how we met, actually. And my question is basically, if I do it by myself and just like learning it on my own and not taking any actual like courses at a university or anything like that, can I still be like not a valuable but like a legit producer just based on
Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yes, for sure. I can't believe how many, again, I don't know what it's like here, but in the UK, there are so many music production courses. It's crazy. There are literally tens of thousands of kids every year going to study music production, which I think is not a great idea. But I'm always on the internet, like Googling how to sidechain things and how to, always learning. There's some great like knowledge sources. I don't know if you guys know a guy called Warren Hewitt. Yeah, he's. I met him actually. Met him the other day. Really nice guy. He's a great source of knowledge. There are also some really bad sources of knowledge on the internet and some bad people doing it. But no, you don't need to go to college or anything like that. I don't think. I really don't.
And you're
Just saved you so much money there.
Yeah. Okay. So thanks very much for being here and sharing all this. And we're gonna go for a 5-minute break and then be back for another session. So stay around. Thank you.